Welcome. This is episode 3. And you find me on my morning commute into Manhattan. Stuck in traffic as usual. It is the first day back at work after Labor Day. So that means all the people that during the summer were out of my way on the road are back on it. So what I had gotten down to a 55-minute drive will be back to its usual hour and 20 minutes. So I figured this would be a good time to do the vlog. Also, I have dinner reservations tonight, so I'm not going to do it on the ride home because you wouldn't be able to see anything because it's going to be dark in the car. So, what's new? Actually, it's funny. I was been listening to the Everyday Driver Car Debate. Driveline is actually a sponsor of the Everyday Driver Car Debate podcast. I absolutely recommend it. The reason we sponsored it is I'm just a huge fan, and they have a great listenership, and the show is hilarious. But today they've got somebody on from U.S. World News, and they've been talking about their best car picks, and the ones that the list that they've been on is best cars for teen drivers, and they're all front-wheel drive, safety boxes, even if it's a new car. And you know, they keep coming back to not the Everyday Driver guys, but the speaker from U.S. News really keeps harping on, hey, you want these safety features, lane keep assist, and I'm not really sure that actually helps people. It's certainly not going to make your kid a better driver, because yes, it stops you from doing something wrong, but the issue then is you didn't do something wrong and you never learned that it was wrong. So the problem with that being that, are you ever going to really learn? Everything is front-wheel drive. You know, in retrospect and looking at my car history, my first car probably should have been rear-wheel drive. Even if it was slow, I think rear-wheel drive teaches you better car control. Front-wheel drive kind of makes you lazy. I'm gonna pass this lowered and cambered Acura TL with the tow hook on the back. By the way, if you put a tow hook on the back of your car and you don't race it, don't. I mean, really? I see these slow driving, terrible driving, clapped out pieces of junk all the time on the FDR drive. And let me tell you, with the tow hook on the back. But it's not like, oh, I got towed and then I forgot to take the tow hook off. No. These are like legit, hey, I bought this billet machine tow hook to put on the back of my car. It's got red accents, like this cat. And the only thing that doesn't make sense is all that tells me is no, you're not a good racing driver. What you are is somebody who likely been the car off the regular road, not even off a track, and have decided, yeah, no, I think I'm going to need to leave this on here. By the way, different car today. You've seen me in the Corvette. You've seen me in my pickup truck. You now see me in my daily driver, which is a Chevy Volt. That's why it's hella quieter than everything else I've been in. But additionally, the reason I use this is because with the 60 miles of charge range, combined with really, really good fuel economy, it's the perfect car for getting in and out of Manhattan on a daily basis. It's also nice and quiet, which is a real great change. Before I had this car, I had a Ford Focus ST, which I loved. It was a great car. It was also a manual transmission, which is great, unless you're sitting in traffic for an hour and a half or 2 hours on a Friday, fighting in stop and go, trying to get out of the city. Because everybody else who lives in the city is trying to get out for the weekend. By the way, Fridays are terrible leaving Manhattan. Actually, Thursdays are pretty bad as well. Let's see. Okay, so back to that, the car debate. So everything on their list. They had one good one, which was the VW Jetta, which was like the best new car for your teen that you could get between $20,000 and $25,000. I've driven that one in a manual, actually. And it was funny because the reporter was saying, oh, this is the one I'm cautious about because this is the actual only one on our list really that has any cachet or any fun factor. Okay, I drove it. It's all right. It's okay. And I'm talking about the base model. I'm not talking about the fully GLI kitted out version. They're really focusing on the SE, the SEL. And I drove the SEL in a manual. Great car. It was just a little gutless from my perspective. But I drove it in the first year, and I think they've gotten a lot better since. This car is a little gutless, but again, doesn't really need to be. Especially because it's stop-and-go traffic car. What else? Oh, they also spent a lot of time talking about the Buick LaCrosse. And I remember the Buick LaCrosse. Not that I ever had one, but as my first gig out of college, I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And that was one of the things we rented to people. And I will say that you were talking about a big, squishy, now all squishy car. Keeping in mind also, they're not talking about the same Buick LaCrosse that I'm familiar with. The one they're referring to is like a newer one, like a 2016. I think my experience with them was 2005. But again, I would actually say perfect car for a teenager. You can't get into trouble in that car. Utterly boring. But you're not going to teach your kid good handling, good driving technique. I think, honestly, something slow, rear-wheel drive, and manual is really the way to go. One, you can't futz with your phone and do a manual transmission. It just doesn't work. They were also talking about, while they didn't recommend any two-door cars, they did basically say, you want to not get your kid something with like 3 rows of seats that could seat 8, because every time you have a friend in the car, you increase the likelihood that they're going to get into an accident. Okay, I got a better idea. Take the seats out. Just take them out. You can absolutely do that. It's not hard. Take the seats out of the car. Make it a one-seater. For the first year of driving a car, you only have a one-seat car. I think that is an excellent way to do things. Somebody's fairly new A6 broken down on the side of the road. Haha, you spent $60,000, $70,000 and it broke down. No, that's not nice. That's not nice. But I do think it's worth making fun of people who... you know what? The reason I make jokes about that is that I have seen brand new Bentleys broken down on the side of the road in Greenwich, that's hilarious. You spent $200,000 on a car and your Bentayga broke down. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. So what else got going on? Going away for a little bit. So one of the nice parts is going to be a weekend drive, do stuff kind of vacation. And the advantage to that is that I'm going to get out on the road and we are going to map Mount Washington in this car. Yes, I'm going to use my Volt to climb Mount Washington. I considered using my wife's BMW 335 Xi GT. But then I thought about, this thing has that regenerative braking, and it has a paddle here where you can literally almost stop the car using the paddle. Wouldn't it be fun to try to get down the hill and use the actual brakes as little as possible and really just ride the regenerative system all the way from the highest peak in the Northeast all the way to the base on just a regenerative? What would be really fun is to see whether or not you could actually put some charge back in the car, because you're literally using so little You're not really pushing the car forward. You're just letting gravity pull the thing down the hill. That could be fun. So we're going to try that. And you're going to see that. We'll definitely make that the daily vlog. And for those who are on Driveline, and you should be, we will actually map that as well. Plus, I'll probably some of the roads getting there, because I'm sure there's some good driving roads out in New Hampshire. And I will make sure to put those mapped, get those mapped as well. So that's it for today's vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll get this up. We are still working on turning this into also a podcast. Also tomorrow, it'll be more interesting because it won't be just me. We're going to get, we won't do it in the morning. We'll be doing it in the afternoon. And we're going to get Eric, our managing director, head of online digital marketing and social media. We'll get him on the line for the drive home. So that'll be more entertaining. So great. Hey, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the highway or the road, or just have fun driving.